Howdy Huskies, we're going to go ahead and do 9.3a. This is going to be basically writing it into our two equations. So when we complete the square, as you remember from other examples that we've done with ellipses and hyperbolas, our goal is to get it into one of two forms. So it's either going to be x minus h squared is equal to 4m y minus k, or it's going to go ahead and do y minus k squared is equal to 4m x minus h. So a couple of observations. Remember, we got to see what's being squared because that's going to determine which it's going to be, which parabola it's going to be. And notice that our 4m is then on that opposite side. So really, we just got to go ahead and make sure we get the like terms on one side and move everything over. So steps to help us out. Number one is you're going to see if it's x squared or y squared. That was a theme in the last video and a theme for today. Okay, so you're going to move all other variables and constants to the other side. So to show you that example really quickly, my friends, see how this is an x squared? So in this x squared, that means everything else. So this y and this 25 are going to move to the other side for us to work with, okay? So after we have gone ahead, we've decided what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and complete the square. You know, that's the whole b divided by 2 with our blank sort of situation that we've seen in our previous videos. That hasn't changed. After, ladies and gentlemen, we've completed the square, you need to factor out the coefficients on the non-squared side. So after we complete the square, notice this is step 3. We're going to factor out the coefficient, and that's going to give us our 4m. So basically, this step gives us the 4m part. Cool? So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's get this party started. So obviously, we've already mentioned that this is an x squared. And so that y and the 25 are moving over. So I'm going to get x squared plus 10x. And then I'm going to put in my blank is equal to a negative 20y minus 25. Got to make sure I get my signs right. And then another blank. Make sure you have that blank on both sides. That is a reminder that you need to add that value to one side because our rule of equations, you can't just add to one side and not the other. So you take your b term. It's always your b term. You divide that by 2. And I'm going to get a positive 5 because that's 5 divided by 2. We're going to square it, and we're going to put it in both blanks. So this is a 25 that's positive and a 25 that's positive. So then we're going to factor that x squared plus 10x plus 25 using your method of choice. If you are an x person, then use your x. If you want to do it in your head, feel so. So the numbers that multiply to a positive 25 and add to a positive 10. Notice I'm bringing my signs along. It's going to be 5 and 5. So it's x plus 5, which is going to turn into x plus 5 squared. Okay? So in the future, we're basically going to skip from this straight to here. Okay? So just so you know, moving forward. Alrighty, so on the right-hand side of our equation, I have like terms right here. They don't always cancel out, but in this example, they do. So a negative 25 and 25 are just going to go ahead and become a negative 20. So there's no factoring, but if I were need to factor, I would factor out a negative 20. So this right here is our actual equation. Okay, so then we will go through the steps that we did in our previous video. So my vertex is going to be negative 5, 0. Because there's no k. So that negative 5, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is right there. And then because it is a negative x squared, our direction is going down. That negative and the squared tell us that. So then we do our 4m is equal to 20. So m is going to be 5. So if we go back to that diagram we mentioned in the previous video right here, that allows us to find the distance. So in between the vertex and the focus is just M. In between the directrix is M. And then between the focus and a point on, that's 2M. So I'm going to go ahead and go down because our focus is inside the parentheses. So I put an F there for focus. Go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is my directrix. Yes, you still need to have all those pieces. And then I'm going to go ahead and go 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then obviously I'm going to go way over here. It's going to be off the graph, so I'll just go ahead and make it look like that. Cool? So that is our graph. That is our formula. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. So we have another x squared graph. So we're going to go ahead and move the 16 and the 60 over. So x squared minus 12x plus blank is equal to a negative 16y plus 60 blank. Take your b term, which includes the sign, so that's a negative 12. Divide that by 2, and that's a negative 6. So positive 36. Positive 36. So I'm going to get x squared minus 12x plus 36. We will factor this, again, using our x. 36 negative 12 is 6 and 6. So this is x plus 6 squared. And then on this side, these are our like terms, so we're going to go ahead and combine. I'm going to get a negative 16y plus 96. Alrighty. So we mentioned that there was going to be some factoring there on step 3. Factor out the coefficient on the non-squared side. So that coefficient is going to be that negative 16. Sorry, I meant to make that my highlighter. There we go. So I'm going to factor out of just this side. So just the non-squared side. So negative 16, and then that's going to become a y minus 6 because I'm essentially dividing by that negative 16. So I'm going to get x plus 6 squared is equal to negative 16 y minus 6, and there's our equation. So we now know everything we need to know. It is an x squared, so that's either up or down. But because it's negative, we're going down. So this is my HK. We do our change. So my vertex is going to be at negative 6, 6. I'm going to do 4m is equal to just 16 because as we mentioned, that negative is directional. So m is 4. All righty. So negative, excuse me, I got to make sure that I did all my signs right, and I did not. Because this needs to be a negative and a negative. Makes this a negative 6. Negative. And then this would be a positive. I was looking at my cheat sheet, and I realized that I did not follow my signs. So hopefully you caught that. And we are all good. So we can now move forward. So 6, 6 is going to be right up here. That is my vertex. It's again going down. So I'm going to go ahead and go up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. This would be my directrix all the way up here. Down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I counted too many there again. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. There's my focus. And then 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Point on the parabola. 1, 2. Obviously off our graph, so we'll just leave it as is. Cool. Sorry about the sign issue there, my friends, but we got it corrected before we got too much further, and we are good to go. So now we're going to go ahead and look at not so much completing the square, but making these graphs from parts. So the first thing I would do is make a picture. We can't stress how important that is. Step number 2, I want you to remember that the focus is inside your parabola. I'm just going to do this for parabola. And your directrix says go the other way or opposite way. So you remember your directrix, your parabola is not going to run into your directrix. Step number 3, or thing to remember, is you want to know what your direction is going to be because that's going to help you decide which equation. And that starts a lot with x squared and y squared because remember, there's 4 different types of equations. And then step number 4, my friends, is remember to find that m value because that's crucial. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's start by making a nice little picture here, and then we're going to see where we're going to end up. So our vertex here is at the center. That doesn't give us a whole lot of information, so I'm just going to put a V right here. And then it says my focus, which is very important, is at -5, 0. So that's going to be right there, which tells us that the parabola is going this way. And if the parabola is going that way, we know it's a y squared, and we know our 4m is negative. So all from knowing where that focus is. So that's going to be crucial, okay? So we know now what the difference is what the m is, because it's the difference between your focus and your vertex. So clearly, if this is at -5 and this is at 0, my m is going to be 5, okay? Our vertex is h and k, so this would be y minus k squared is equal to 4m, and then x minus h. So I'm going to go y and then minus 0, because that's my k, squared. And then 4, I'm going to go -5 because of my direction. We've been saying that that m is directional, so we now have to bring that into account. Because I'm going to the left, that means a -m. And then I'm going to have x minus 0 for my vertex. So when we clean this up, I'm going to get y squared is equal to a -20x. And that's our equation. So you can see how much that picture really saves the day. All right, let's do another one here. So I'm going to go ahead and set this up. So my vertex is once again at 0, 0. So I'll put a little V right there. And it says my focus is 0, 8. So 0, 8 would be right here. Oh, that's some great information because the focus is inside of our parabola. So now we know that this is an x squared graph. And we know that our m is positive because it's going up. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are off to the races. We are good to go. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's find out what our m value, that is the distance between my vertex and my focus. So my m is going to be 8. And then we have another hk here. Now, I'm not going to put in my hk because I already know that that's going to be 0. So 4 times m, which is 8. And then just a y. So, ladies and gents, when we're all said and done, we're going to get x squared is equal to 32. Sorry, need my 2 in there. 32y. Boom, boom. Alrighty, focus is inside, directrix is outside. We've said that up here. Again, this has been pretty crucial for us to help us out. So now, on our next one, let's set it up. Another lovely picture. So for this one, I'm going to go ahead and put some tick marks in here because our vertex is going to move around a little bit. So this just kind of helps a little bit. We didn't really need it on the other ones, but this one is going to be helpful. We can see that we're going to have a different vertex that's at 3, 2. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So I'm going to go ahead and put my V right there. And then it says directrix is x equals. Remember, x equals is a vertical line at 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is going to be right here. So this is my directrix. And the directrix says go the other way. So my parabola is going this way. So we know that's a y squared. And we know our m is negative, as we've already sort of mentioned with these important pieces. So we're good to go. Now the other thing that we need to remember is that this distance right here is our m. That is the distance between your vertex and the focus. But also in this case, which is more helpful, it's the distance between your vertex and your directrix. So obviously that m is going to be a 2. And we should really make it a -2 because it is going in that opposite direction. So this is my h and my k. So let's write our equation. I'm going to write the equation out fully here because we have so many aspects to put in. Notice our x is with the h. My y is with the k. So this will be y minus 2 squared is equal to 4 times a -2. And then x minus 3. And so when we're all said and done, we're going to get y minus 2 squared is equal to negative 8x minus 3. And you're donezo. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you want to try example 9, it's not tough, but that fraction might be a little bit tough or just tricky. It might throw us for a loop. So hit pause, make your picture, and then come back. Alrighty. Some of you are like, nope, I'm not going for that. So let's go ahead and do this one together, and that's 100% okay. We're still learning, and learning is good stuff. So this is my vertex right there at 0, 0, as it tells me. And this is y equals, remember y equals is horizontal, at negative 5/12. So if this is 1, then 5/12 is not even halfway. So it's going to be somewhere right there. So we know that this parabola is going to be going up. So it's an x squared, and my m is positive. So that's my h and k, which is good to know. And my distance here, because that's my m, is going to be 5/12. So even though it's a negative 5/12, because it's a positive m, we're going to just make it a positive. So this would be x minus 0 squared, and then 4 5/12, and then y minus 0. And when we do this lovely fraction math here, we're going to get x squared is equal to 5/3 y. And we know with fractions we can write that a couple of different ways, but we're going to be all good, and so we're going to circle it, call it money. All right, last but not least, you really should try this one. So hit pause, give it the old college try, see how you do. This really is going to make sure that if you know what you're going, or if we need to fill any holes. Welcome back. So again, we're going to go ahead and put in tick marks here because we have a special spot for our vertex. Apologize, in the previous video I kept calling it a center. So this is going to go ahead and become my h and my k, and that's my focus. So let's go ahead and plot. So negative 2, 1. This is going to be my vertex. And then my focus is negative 2, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we can see that our parabola is looking something like this. So that's an x squared graph where m is positive. And so we now know that that's x minus h squared, 4m, and then y minus k. And before I get too ahead of myself, let's find out what our m is. So that this distance right here is m, and that's 7. So this will be x plus 2, because we're going to change that sign. If you're wondering, though, the actual math, it's x minus a negative 2. A negative and a negative make a positive, but that's why we just say change. And then I'm going to do 4 times 7, and then y plus 1. So our answer is x plus 2 squared, 28, y plus 1. Alrighty, ladies and gents, that's it for today, and that's it for this unit. So hopefully, my friends, that you have some good understanding, that you're ready on your ellipses, that you're ready on your hyperbolas, and you're ready on your parabolas, and you're going to crush this coming up. So this is Mr. Nottensing. We'll see you next time.